I'm back. I didn't leave the picnic area here at the park because I thought I'd try and squeeze in one last video if I can. It's 2:06 p.m. October 17th. Wanted to go over some basic information that I'm going to be referring to. And I would highly advise that people buy these books on eBay. You can buy them at a discount. The reason being is I've learned about my metaphysicality from these books specifically. The first one, and I'm going to warp speed it through this video as well as all the other videos I have. The first book I would recommend buying is Polarity Therapy by this guy, Dr. Randolph Stone. This is volume one. I don't know what they charge now. I think I paid something like $8 or something for it in the past. It's probably way more expensive now. This book you can get, the last I saw, his second volume, Polarity Therapy. I got that from archive.org, and I downloaded it as a PDF file. But this is one of the metaphysical uh, pieces of science that I have relied on forever to cultivate the kinetic energy that I have that I can project forward. The other books I have are, of course, the set of books that, here we go, that Jay has published, including his Ruins Awakening book. I refer to that material. I would get those, and I'm speaking, of course, to the muggles. You people out there who are veterans of a DNA ICUC, you know about this already. The other thing I would highly recommend, I've been looking forever for somebody who is worth listening to outside of the Spiritual Foundation membership. This gentleman here, he goes by the name of Adam. I can't recall his full name, but he has a series of books in which he talks about his approach to healing using auras and holograms. And this guy's legit. God. And then he's got a training video there. Good stuff. If you can get it on a discount at eBay, I would recommend getting it. Here's a book that you wouldn't expect me or anybody else to bring to attention. And that's this gentleman here, Living in a World of Tyranny. We're going to go into a state of world upheaval between what JS plans to do once he crosses over and dips into his bag of objectives, I guess you could say. And then the intersection with what the NWO is going to go here, already in progress, bringing down the economy and the weird politics that we're involved with, unfortunately, these days. I'm trying to be a little bit cryptic, if you understand why. Um, so I gave you these books. This Primal Scream book, that's way beyond your maybe interest at this point. I'll be doing a video on that. I've said that I would be talking about that in a previous video. This gentleman here I like, Richard Gordon. He's a decent person. I hate looking at these videos on YouTube, these people who talk about the weirdest freaking stuff and in the metaphysical world, celestial, yeah, but I'm just the meat and potatoes kind of guy. I, a lot of that weird stuff, I just don't want to even entertain. It's not that he does that himself, but this guy's the closest guy that I can stomach looking at, reading that one can learn about their own metaphysicality if one doesn't go through the RNA with the DNA ICUC that Jay or any of the consultants offer. It's palatable is the word. But all this stuff, I started to read it. I know it. It's like when you get cranked up by Jay, and I also got cranked up by Deanna, and you just know this stuff intuitively. Everything in here, I know. It's weird, but if you don't plan to, if you're a Muggle and you don't plan to have a DNA ICUC, this is what I'd recommend getting into. What else do I have here? I wanted to, oh God, there's so many different directions I can talk about. I have not talked about my abilities yet, only because it's ineffable, meaning it's very hard to describe in such terms that the GQ public can follow. And I'm stumbling over my words here because it's really important that I still make an effort to explain this stuff so that you understand that there's some legitimacy and veritas of whatever I'm going to be talking about out there. Now, let me just, I don't know if it's going to be brief enough or not. I'm 6 minutes into this video. I'm going to try and keep my videos, 15 to 20 minutes long, so I don't become more distracting to look at than other videos out there. Right now, I am convinced that, again, I don't have contact with anybody out there in the Spiritual Foundation membership. Everybody's off doing their own thing, and I wouldn't know how to get in contact with anybody except for maybe Frank Zoo. He's busy, touring the world and buying stones and stuff. Would really like to. I've got his phone number. I could call him up, but it's been such a long time since I've spoken to him. And this idea of even though I have, the emails for contact with other consultants, they don't respond to my emails. That's a great concern. I mean, you'd think that they would recognize, something like pro bono. Why is somebody who's a veteran myself having a crank? Why do I have to pay, to speak to with these people? I have things to share with these consults out there who would benefit greatly from what I've been able to accumulate in my repertoire of metaphysicality. Not to tout myself, but it's just distracting. I wish I could, pass on the legacy of what I've learned to people, privately even. 'Cause there's some, as Frank says, there's something, and he told me this in the past, and I didn't quite understand it. He said, there are things that you don't tell people. And I didn't understand it at the time. I had a consult with him in the beginning of my crank up. Now I understand. I got to be real careful on what it is I explained about what it is I can do. Not because I'm a big deal or anything. It's because this kinetic stuff can hurt people. And I haven't tried this on anybody else except my friend Ed. Put him in the hospital, actually. So, I'm really reluctant to reinstall and upload my previous videos on the training of this stuff. It's not a formula, but it's my methodology for, cultivating the kinetic energy, which I freaking see. It's all over the place, man. I mix and match and layer and point. It shoots off, into infinity. And it's something that everybody has the ability to do. But what I'm trying to segue into is the idea that now that I have this kinetic ability, I'm going, freak, nobody's been talking about this, because this stuff is primary for applying with what people have only described at this point as just sitting there and astral projecting and remote viewing without physically getting involved. I don't understand. The whole concept of metaphysicality is a complete system. learning to, as you remote view, you can you can articulate what you're seeing with this kinetic energy. And folks, I'm telling you, man, it's awesome. If you're sitting there, I'm speaking to the Dumbledores and the Dumbledorees or Rets, the ladies. If you're just sitting there going like that, doing your stuff, excuse me, you're not you're not. I'm my mind is freezing up. I have I think I think it's a chip in my head, from being in the SSP, and I'm never going to be talking about that stuff ever. Um, and it blocks me from talking, and I just stumble. Okay, and I don't know. I've got to probably get in touch with this gentleman. The I was John Lennon channel gentleman, whatever his name is, and compare notes with him because I think he talked about having a chip or something. I'd have to go back and look at his email. Anyway, I'm digressing. But back on topic, as Bershuander would say. Let's get back on topic. The comparison is this. If you're sitting there and you're thinking about, oh, what would it be like to ride a bicycle? Yeah, the wind whipping through the hair or something. It's not as impactful as a feeling experience as opposed to just being on a bicycle and driving up a county road or down the street or something. And same thing with eating. Do you get much satisfaction in thinking about eating a taco or tofu burger or whatever as opposed to just eating something? Or here's an even better one. Would you rather just be thinking about sex, or would you rather be rough and tumble on a mattress and ruffling the sheets? No, there's no comparison. It's the same thing with conducting your own metaphysicality. Man, you gotta move. You have to have motion with this stuff. Everything I do now, metaphysically, involves flailing of my fingers and hands and arms and stuff because I see it's coming out, and I'm just so surprised that nobody in the membership talks about this stuff. It's so primary. Anyway, I'm getting lost in a rant here, but I remember Jay saying in a video once, and I already figured this out myself a long time ago. He said, you can see your energy when you go like that. Well, yeah, you're taking the energy, which you learn from polarity therapy. Just looking at the pictures, you can understand what it is I'm all about. It's strong enough to mess you up. And I tried taking this configuration of my hand and putting it at the base, the L4, L5 area of my spine. Because for years, ever since I was 20 years old, I've had back problems. And I've learned that one can alleviate the pain if you just put the back of your hand behind that area, as opposed to like this. This is too strong. Once you're able to see the kinetic energy coming out of your fingers, which he also has talked about, Bershuander has talked about this before. That's when I first heard about it. We're going on 14 minutes here. Boy, there's just too much to say about. I think it's raining now. I better get out of here. Anyway, you begin to understand the concept. See this right here? This is a nozzle going in front of a hose, right? A garden hose. You know that when you turn it one way, it spreads out like that. The jet stream spreads out like that. When you turn it back, it constricts to have a narrow stream of water. It's the same concept of using your hands. So if you ever see, I'm getting lost in transaction here. If you ever see people talking about using their energy with like this, they don't know what they're talking about. you have individual streams of energy coming out of each finger. And when you start to see that, I'm looking at my aura now. I have a transparent aura because I'm essential is what Jay called me. So in any case, and that almost blends with the energy coming out, and I can see this stuff. It's translucent, it disfigures or distorts the perception of something behind the fingers. That's how I see it, and there's colors associated with it too. And oh God, I got to wrap this up. I'm so cold. Don't you feel sorry for me? In any case, yeah, as one begins to incorporate the physicality of your metaphysicality, you will go further. You will have stronger experiences. And like I said in one of my videos, when I go, oh God, it's starting to rain. I got to get out of here. When I go to Mount Hood, and I'm stuck. I don't know. I'm stuck on Mount Hood. I can't get away from that. That and seeing ETs flying in the cockpit up in the sky. This is all weird stuff, right? I never thought I'd even be talking about this stuff years ago. When I saw Jay's videos, I was like, "What the frick are ETs? What is all this stuff?" And now I'm doing it too. So I understand. Well, people out there, GQ public or even the muggles will listen to what I have to say and go, that guy's freaky, weird. Been there, done that, man. So I guess I should call this a wrap. We need to talk about this idea more because nobody's talked about it. It's so important that people come on board with this idea. Now, lastly, I got to tell you, because of, I think, having a crank up, an impromptu crank up from Deanna and Aya one time. Jay called her into the office. Come on, give him a crank up, And she blew me away to begin with. She's freaking beautiful. And she's so shy. She doesn't want to appear in public. Maybe in the private circles between her and Jay, everybody knows her. But I mean, I was just floored just looking at her. And, what can I say? I'm a guy, right? So she gave me a crank up. And ever since then, animals have been attracted to me. And I can't recall whether it's in a past video I've posted already, but animals will come and they'll die at my doorstep. Here's a sparrow, and it just makes me sad. The feelings I have from this sparrow right on my doorstep, the feelings I have was, please help me. I'm hurt. I don't know what to do. I'm coming to you. And it really, it upsets me because, having her energy in me makes me even more sensitive to the plight of animals than it has in the past. I've never been able to go past a Petco and tolerate that. Just seeing those puppies in the window, man, just, they'd have a life if somebody would adopt them. If not, they're gone. So I know I'm drifting. I've got too much to say. My mind is so jumbled because of this experience of dealing with this person who wants to kill me. And I want to show you, I've got 10 spheres. And that might sound silly, but I vacated the bedroom that I was living in because it sits over this guy who has PTSD, and I've just put this in its place, hoping that it would help him, but no, it hasn't helped him. He's still stalking me. Anyway, I don't need to linger on that. I'm going to head on, and I'll post this along with the other one I did earlier, and I'm going to see if I can do PDF uploads again on YouTube, and if I can't, then I'm going to, in my next video, talk about the interaction I want to have with the public here and how people can talk to me in the meantime till I get things fixed technically on YouTube. I'm going to offer a alternative email that people can contact me with. Understand that because I'm limited in contact through, the communication over the internet, it's going to be, 3 days at a sprint before I can return any return emails in acknowledgement of what you're expressing to me. Anyway, I'm lingering. So it's ramping up for another shower here, and I'm just going to head on and there's so much more to say, and I hope I can spirit people, inspire people to get involved with this integration of physical stuff that should align itself with your own expression of just solitary metaphysicality. It doesn't make sense to me, man. Okay, I'm out of here. You have a good day, I guess. Bye now.